Well, hello, folks. Today I'm going to bring you something that's going to change your life, your well-being, your mood, and everything else for the positive. So that's quite a big claim. It's going to be obviously a little bit to explain that. And most of what I'm going to tell you, the hardest thing to do is going to be to believe it because it's so simple and so easy for you to do that is the main thing. You can do it right now. You can do it now right this second, and it will start working. But you have to believe it. So for that, I'm going to need to give you a little bit of context. So for those of you that are looking for, what is that answer? How long is he going to make us wait? Well, I will make you wait no longer. You are able to energize everything that you eat and drink. So there you go. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. And the longer that you listen, the more context you'll have, because this is something that took me minutes to learn and years to believe. So I understand what it must be like to hear this for the first time. Took me years to believe it, folks. So do I expect that you're going to believe it just because I'm telling you this on this video? Probably not. But I'm going to plant a seed exactly the same way that it happened to me, to plant a seed with you. And one day, maybe in the future, you'll wake up to this and you'll think, wow, he was right all along. Maybe there's something in this. So let's start off. In the background today, here's a picture from my recent trip to Ireland. I went to Donegal, a stunning part of the world. So this was me about a week ago. This was what I was looking at, and I was energizing. I was going on walks around Donegal, Sligo, Clare, re-energizing, restoring the soul, and running into some lunatic Irish friends who were doing their best to unrestore my liver. So, folks, we can't all be perfect all of the time. I will own up to the fact that I had a few to drink on that tour. But on the basis that until this year so far, before I went there, I probably had about 20 pints in total for the whole year. Yeah, this was, I kept my credits for this little trip, and now I'm detoxing. So that's part of my Zen balance of life. It's all about balance, folks. That's what it's about. You know, we're not looking for perfection on this channel. We're looking for us to offset our slightly more lunatic traits by doing better things and bringing in a state of equilibrium between the lunacy and the sensible. So today I'm going to give you the most sensible thing. And this is something that I've been doing now for a few years. And with my lifestyle, I'm surprised I haven't had to go to hospital or have any sort of quirky things. And judging from going around and visiting my friends, a lot of them have had cancer scares and things like that. Now, I live a lunatic lifestyle and I haven't had any, up until now, medical issues to deal with. So today I'm going to give you a part energy and part medical perspective of how you energize water and food to increase its vibration and to work more in harmony with your body when you eat it. So, or drink it. So that's quite a big, grandiose claim. So let's start at the beginning. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Adam, and I spent 13 years in the front line working as a nurse. So I'm medically trained. I was working with people where I became, my specialist area became in working with people who were facing imminent death. Now, that's a really difficult area. And it was a school of hard knocks that made me good at this and really opening my mind, because the people that we're talking about here, the demographic, aren't the people that knew they were going to die. These are people in their 40s and 50s that were coming in with a little bit of pain that maybe they'd left too long. And suddenly, a few scans later, they realized they've got inoperable cancer. And the question that changed my life, that happened on repeat, were people asking me, is there any hope? So that's really what turned my life. That's made me explore alternatives. It made me look into other stuff out there. And that has been an almost 30-year journey in my life. So here I am, all those many years down the line with a lot of experience, And the only way that I believe this stuff is because I used these techniques and they worked and I saw it for myself. And it will be the same with you. I don't expect you to believe it. In fact, I would even go as far to say, don't believe it. Just do it. See if it works for you. See if it works for you. Okay. But the effects of the exercise I'm going to give you today are subtle. Are subtle and they compound over time. So the longer you do it, the more pronounced the effects will be. But getting you to believe it will be the hardest part. So let's talk about it. I looked a lot into alternative well-being when I finally was asked this question, is there any hope? That made me explore a lot of different alternative fields. I went into energy medicine. I started off in Reiki. I then I became a Reiki Master. I then explored vortex healing. I'm an advanced practitioner of that. I then studied neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnosis, which are regressive techniques that take people back to the root cause of all illness. And then I studied energetic NLP. And for anyone that doesn't know what NLP is, it's neuro-linguistic programming. It's basically a manual on how the mind works. Now, these are just the things I got qualifications in. I did a lot of week courses, one-day courses, workshops in mind-body medicine, in channeling, in meditation. I went to 4 silent meditation retreats, did a bit of yoga there, and I can honestly tell you that was great there. I'm not anywhere into yoga and I haven't been doing a lot lately. And there's no excuse not to, but I'm just giving you examples of the things that I've studied along the way. I've come into a lot of alternative therapies. I've met a lot of good people and a lot of stuff that sounds completely out there. But only by testing this stuff will you ever know if it works. But one of the most interesting study groups that I found was the work of a chap called Masaru Emoto. And that's Masaru Emoto. And I encourage you to look this guy up because he spent a lifetime studying water and its effects. So his background was that he grew up in Japan. He saw his local doctor. Whenever anyone used to get ill, they used to go to him. He'd send them away. 2 hours later, they would come back. He'd give them some water and they would get better. And he wondered, how does that work? So he spent a lot of years studying, working out how to freeze water to study the crystalline structure of it. And what he found over time was that he could freeze it. He could see what the crystalline structure of water was. So he would freeze it. He'd get water from one source. He'd freeze it. He would then separate it into 2 separate beakers. And on one of them, he'd write, "You fool." On the other one, he would write, "I love you." And he'd leave them a few days. And then he would freeze the crystals from the 2 separate beakers and finds the one with "You fool" on it was distorted beyond recognition. And the one with "I love you" was now perfectly synchronized crystalline structure. Now, you don't have to believe any of this. So let me bring in a medical aspect before we go off too much on the woo-woo here. So part of my remit as a nurse was fluid balance on people. And what I found is that most people are terminally dehydrated. Now, here's a very practical thing that you need to know. If you are dehydrated, your blood gets stickier. And if your blood gets stickier, it's more likely to clot. And if it's more likely to clot, that's how strokes and heart attacks happen. And that's why strokes and heart attacks kill more people than any other thing on the planet. So there you go. Take that on board, folks. Dehydration is directly attributable to strokes and heart attacks, which are the biggest killers on the planet. I want that to sink in for you. A lot of that is directly linked to being dehydrated, having stickier blood, and being prone to clots. So staying hydrated is a great idea from a purely medical point of view. Take everything else out of this. There's your practical bit of information from a medical point of view. Now we'll add the Masaru Emoto effect. So what we think, just imagine if a sticker with "I love you" can influence the crystalline structure of water. Imagine how that reflects on our thoughts and our body. So what we think on a daily basis impacts everything inside our body. And when you get food and drink, you can just sit there just for a second and just send it love. It's that simple, folks. This technique's very simple. You can just send it love and then drink it or eat it. That's it. There's the magic formula. The rest of this video is just going to be explaining how that works and why. So you've got the magic pill. You could switch off now if you want to believe it and take this into your life, but you're probably thinking, yeah, whatever. And I would expect that, folks, because that's exactly what I thought when I first came across this stuff. It's only through years and years of study and witnessing stuff that, especially in the world of energy, when you work in the world of energy, you witness a lot of incredible things that medicine just can't explain. So there you go, folks. There's the template for you. There's Masaru Emoto. Now, for those of you that were fans of The Secret, you can find this stuff in there. They talk about this stuff. I found out about this. Predates The Secret. So when I saw it there, I just thought, oh, good. It's getting a bit more mainstream. And for those of you that are Tony Robbins fans, you may have been to his health day. He talks about a chap called Dr. Batman. Dr. Batman Gelish. He was a doctor that was trapped in an Iranian death camp in the 70s, I believe. And not only did he escape, but while he was in there, people were coming to him with ailments and he had no medications to give them. All he had was water. And what he was finding was that water was curing a lot of the ailments, especially things like gastric ulcers, which makes sense, folks, because our stomach is made of acid. And if you're dehydrated, that acid concentrates and is far more likely to cause a gastric ulcer. There you go, practical medical advice. So hydrating will decrease the acidity in your stomach and decrease the propensity for ulcers to form. So there you go. We're going to interlace practical medical stuff in with the woo-woo, spiritual, mind-body medicine stuff as well. And I've studied both. So you have the his work, his life work when he got out of there was studying water and its effect on health and illness. And he believes that over 80% of all illnesses are directly attributed to dehydration. So whether you want to listen to the energy stuff or not, the practical medical stuff is that the simplest thing that you can do to stay well is to hydrate. There you go. Take everything else out, hydrate more, and your life will improve, folks. And if you want to amplify that, you will send love to everything that you're about to eat or drink, and you will start noticing what you're thinking about on a daily basis. Because thoughts are like boomerangs. If you're feeling negative about someone or something, it's like a boomerang. Just thinking about it impacts your whole body. So the goal of this is to spend as much time of your day thinking about things that energize you as you can. That's how you stack the deck in your favor. It's that simple, folks. Turn off the news. That's definitely been something that I've done. I don't watch the mainstream news now. In fact, ironically, all of my news comes from memes that my friends send me. And when I get something that's juicy looking, I think, oh, I better look up the news headline, see what's going on around that. That's how I get my news, folks. I don't watch the news. I try and surround myself by positive people. And over time, I've cut out of my life the narcissistic personalities, the friends that were taking all the time, and even the family members that were bringing nothing to my life, that were just drains. So it's this simple, folks. You've got two categories of people in your life. You've got drains and radiators. Some people just drain you, and you'll know that because you feel drained at the end of it. And some people will uplift you, and you'll know it because you feel uplifted. So you don't need to be an energy master to understand how energy works, folks. So there you go. I've given you a few principles today. So let's just summarize this by saying that the thing that will improve your life, every time you're about to have a drink, every time you're going to have a drink, just put your hands there and send it love. Just for a second or two. You can do it for longer if you want, and then you drink it. So, folks, that's how it's done. Send love to your food and your drink, and you stack the deck in your favor. And the longer you stay focusing on positive things that uplift you, the better your body will feel. And there you go. There's the magic formula. And the hard part is believing it. So there you go. If this has been something that's helped you, if you're a healer, an empath, a light worker, especially, and if you're still watching this video, then there'll be more useful content in the suggested videos that you're probably seeing now. Like and subscribe, folks, because this channel is there to give you resources to help stack the deck in your favor. And if that's you, then join the journey. Leave your comments. I do read all of them, and I create content based on your comments. So there you go. I'm reading them all, constantly updating them, and giving you this little magic pill for now. So from me, Adam, it's over and out from Donegal and scenic places, energizing our food and our drink.